down at Richmond at the Virginia Assembly for their reconvening today. They're working their way through everything that Governor Spanberger either vetoed or had amendments for. So they're like, I don't know, halfway through.
Yeah, about that.
And we're going to record this now. So probably the story of the whole session was Delegate Griffin being ignored. I think it was 17 times.
Yeah, I got it. We got 17. I think you counted 17 times.
And I think I might have missed a couple.
Yeah. Well, I missed the first 4 until I got a text message from Delegate Waxman on the House floor. He sent me a text message that says, "Are you getting this on video?" He says, "It's a little bit too obvious if I do." And so he said by that time when he had texted me, he said it had already happened 4 times. I don't know if you saw those first 4 or not, but it's been at least 17, maybe 21.
Yeah, it's well into the double digits. He stood up to speak against a number of different bills. We should have wrote down all the different bills. But it was
all the gun bills.
Yeah, every Second Amendment bill he stood up to speak about. They ignored him every single time, though, 17 times. And this is what happens when democracy, kind of republic, whatever representation. Nobody should be ignored.
No.
This is bad.
And it all just for our viewers to know that it all happened back during session. I mean, this isn't something that happened this morning in the lunchroom.
Yeah.
I mean, this started back during session when Delegate Griffin was in the P&E committee on the House side, and where Sia Price is the chairwoman. And I don't remember the bill that they were discussing, but Tim Griffin brought up protecting of life, and Delegate Price tried to cut him off immediately, saying that he was out of order. She needs to keep his speeches based on what the bill is. And his basic response is, Chairwoman, I know that you don't want to talk about preserving life, but that's what we're going to talk about. Next thing you know, he's kicked off all of his committees because she went and whined to the speaker. And from that moment on, Speaker Scott has been ignoring Delegate Griffin every time he stands up.
Yeah, every single time.
Even a couple of times where he had spoken out, Delegate Griffin had spoken out. One time he did acknowledge him was when he called a point of order, and he had to do that 3 or 4 times before the speaker actually acknowledged that he had stood up and said anything.
And that was only to fix a vote.
Yeah, that was
even
just a reconsideration. Yeah, that. But that's the way. But that's the way abusive power runs the show.
Yeah.
When you have a power complex, which the Speaker of the House does, that's the way you run your organization. That's that. Whether you're in business, civilian business, or whether you're in politics, when you have a power complex, that's the way you do it. And I see it every day when I'm down here, and that's the way he operates.
Yeah, it's what happens when people don't. I wrote this down and when I was taking notes on my tablet. This is what happens when people don't respect the Constitution, don't respect what this country was founded on. We've now come to the point where we're just flat out ignoring people trying to present points. And it got to the point where he had to have other people. I don't think he probably wrote what they said, but step in for him.
Yeah.
And
well, twice was Delegate Garrett.
Yeah,
you're the one that he spoke about on the guns.
Yeah,
Delegate Griffin stood up. He was ignored. Delegate Garrett stood up, and the speaker called on him.
Yeah.
Another time, Delegate Delegate Kent stood up after Tim stood up, ignored Tim, and called on her.
Yeah,
which is fine. The message got out, but both messages got out. I'm ignoring you.
Yeah, I don't understand how that's, regardless of political beliefs, that's troublesome territory that we find ourselves in, where we're trying to do, they're trying to govern. We can all argue whether they're doing a good job or not, but to not let someone speak is unbelievable to me.
Yeah. Maybe we ought to have our own No Kings rally.
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about that the other day. These No Kings rallies, people are coming out to those, and Bernie Sanders has been in office longer than most kings have reigned.
And what's talking about that one bill that that got passed, HB 112.
Oh, my new favorite one,
Yeah,
HB 112
yeah.
is now passed. So in July, it will now be illegal for, I can't say the word correctly, mammalian mammals, mammal wildlife, uh, the children, the babies of the mammal wildlife cannot be separated from their mothers prior to being 4 months old.
I can rest my head well on my pillow tonight, knowing that the gorilla babies are protected.
Yeah, baby animals have more rights than human babies.
Yeah, yeah. That's the offense, isn't it?
Yeah.
And nobody wants to see animals detached from their mama.
No.
Necessarily. I don't think we need legislation to do it. I think that, of course, these are the bill outlines those in captivity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So those
It's
in
in
captivity. So I mean, okay, do you the zoos and other places, zoological places, need to have maybe better standards? To tell you the truth, Will, I didn't know that that was an issue. I didn't know that
I had no idea that was an issue.
baby mammals being torn from their mothers within just a few days of birth was a problem in the Commonwealth. But it seems to me, like you were telling me up in the chamber, it seems like to me that we need to have more concern. I'm not even going to say as much of a concern, because those wildlife mammals, they're not made in the image of God. But human mammals are.
Yeah.
And I think so. We need to have more concern about the way human mammals are treated. And this piece of legislation just doesn't do that. But you had an interesting take on it. I'd like you to share with everybody if you want to.
Well, if you look at it from a secular point of view, obviously as Christians, we believe we're made in the image of God. And so thus we are at a higher level than mammals. But if you look at it from a secular point of view, we humans are mammals. So technically, by the letter of the bill they just passed, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, but abortion should be illegal. It says in the bill that you can't take uh, a baby mammal from its mother prior to 4 months. Well, that would, if you're a secularist, that should include humans, and it should include abortion, and it also should include surrogacy. They won't ever do that, but that's how the bill is written.
That's strict language.
That's right out of the bill. It just says mammals. That's all it says. Of course, that's not what they mean, but again, it's the logic of
it's the holes that the left leaves in their bills that they write in, and you've seen it in your times down here. You've seen it more than once today. The holes that are left. I've written several capital alerts about the holes that their bills leave, the questions that their bills leave. For example, HB. Now this bill didn't pass, but we've already been told it's coming back next year. HB 359, the private school bill. The private school bill with the public funding. Now, I'm not going to bore everybody. You can read our capital alerts, and we've discussed it on this podcast. So everybody knows what it means. But the question that remains is, okay, this public funding, what about those people that get disability? That's public funding. Does that count? Those people that receive Social Security, that's public funding. Does that count?
Yeah, that was my argument.
And so, but you ask the question to the delegate, the patron, or anybody on the left, and the answer you get is, that's the answer you get. But the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But they don't want to say it. They don't want to go on record as saying that, because then that makes people step back and say, well, wait a minute. It ought to make people do that anyway. But when you include all these other public funded programs, disability, Social Security, all these other things, and it's just an example, Will, of the holes that are left in the legislation.
Well, it's because they don't want to, like, we could take both these bills together. And again, people have to play out the logical conclusions, because they're not going to tell you the logical conclusion. They're not going to tell you that they care about animals more than human babies. No one's going to say that. No one will ever say that. Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody weird, but
weirder than you and me.
Yeah. I should say officially.
Officially weird.
Officially, no one is going to say that. But with the private school bill, that one's close to my heart as well. That's where my kid goes to private school. What they're trying to do is get into the private schools.
Yes.
Because all of the public schools, particularly in the delegates that patroned that bill 359 in their districts, their public schools are hemorrhaging
Yes.
children
And therefore money.
to private schools,
Yeah.
and therefore money.
Yeah.
And because the quality of education, I could do 17,000 podcasts on all the nonsense that I had to deal with. It's just not the same. And so their only answer is not to fit, which their answer should be, let's fix the public schools. Let's actually do something good with our time. Let's do something admirable with our time. But instead they go, that's too hard, which to be fair is very hard to do. It would take a lot. But instead of trying to do that though, they just pivot and go, well, let's take down the private schools then. We'll get our foot in the door then, and we'll go slow. If you get public funding, then you now fall under this set of rules, which they'll try to do it again next year. They'll wait till that one gets passed. And then the private schools will now cut those kids off. That's what's going to happen. And eventually all this will end up in court. But their end goal is to take the private schools.
And then they'll come out to the homeschoolers next, which they've already done.
Yeah.
Last year or in 25, it failed in appropriations, but they already try to come up to the homeschoolers by stripping away every line in the code that says bona fide religious exemption on the education of your children. And so you had to jump all through these Commonwealth hoops, and you could not claim a religious exemption on any of it. Totally unconstitutional. And I think that they saw that. And then when, 8 out of 13 Democrats voted against it in appropriations. So, but that'll eventually be what comes back as well.
Yeah, they're not playing any of this stuff out. They voted on all this renter stuff, and it sounds all good on paper, but they don't play any of it out.
Right.
Who's going to be able to rent in 2 years? People with perfect credit scores, or you're going to need some kind of resume.
Yeah.
To rent somewhere.
I mean, when you have a bill that says, if you have which is what Katrina Carlson from Albemarle, her bill basically did, that if you have some type of discrepancy with your landlord, whether there's things in the home not fixed or here or that, then you can basically not pay rent.
Yeah.
Okay. And in fact, you don't even have to prove that you've got the rent. Used to be that you could withhold the rent if something in your home was not being fixed. You could withhold that rent, but when you were taken to court, you had to prove that, okay, I do have it in escrow. I'm just not paying it until he fixes it. You don't have to do that now, but you're right, Will. What's eventually going to happen is that you're going to need all these letters. You're going to need all these references. You're going to need a 900 score in order to rent anything.
Yeah.
So that they can be assured that they're going to get their money. And so, I mean, not that someone with a 600 credit score goes into rent a home with the intent of not paying. That's not what I'm saying, and that they should get away with it. That's what I'm saying. But this bill and bills like it are going to make it harder for those people that have had credit issues in the past, whether by their own fault or not, from being able to rent properties, because these landlords are going to require all this proof and all these recommendations. And then what are they going to require for money for you to move in? There's a home in Louisa County, and it's made out of cinder block. Though the house is at least 50 years old, made out of cinder block. And a guy stopped me at the church one day, and he had just come from looking at it. And he said, I'm not renting that place. I said, well, what's wrong with it? He said, nothing wrong with the house, but they want $7,000 for you to move in.
Oh my God.
They want the first month, they want the last month, plus the same amount of money in the security deposit.
Yeah.
Which means that the monthly rent was $2,800 for a single level cinder block built home. These kind of bills that we just got passed with Katrina Carlson, like you were talking about, they're going to be those that we're going to see more of that.
Yeah, people think that this is helping people. And look, I'm not trying to say that landlords don't, or some angels who don't take advantage, but these bills are not designed to stop that. They think they are, But all that's going to end up happening is that people that need a leg up in life are just not going to get it because landlords are going to look at the new set of laws and go, why would I deal with the possibility of this?
Yeah.
It's a fair argument to make.
Yeah.
And then the large property management people that particularly in Northern Virginia, they have these giant high rises and stuff like that. They're just going to hire lawyers that are going to bury you.
Yeah.
So all they've done is squeeze out people that make a living as a landlord owning like 3 or 4 properties, and that's how they generate their income. Those people are going to get squeezed out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are usually the people that will work with people on things like security deposits, or because they have a smaller footprint. A big management company is not working with you.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
You're done your number.
Yeah. You would like to live in this building. This is what it is. They're not going to talk to you. They're not going to work with you on it.
Yeah. What about Delegate Sewell's paid sick leave bill? Delegate Garrett still have been asked to make a statement about it being a new tax, or not Delegate Garrett, Delegate McNamara from the Blacksburg area stood up and was asking questions about it being a new tax, being a required tax, and her answer was classic. We are happy to announce to the 84% of Virginians that want to be guaranteed sick leave. Well, in what universe was that an answer to the question? It was a yes or no question, and that was her answer. Because they try like everything else, they try to reveal it or manufacture it or advertise it as helping Virginians, but it's another tax.
Yeah, it's a tax.
It's one of those deals: pay now or pay later.
Yeah,
and then if you've never and I know people, you never take sick time. All you've done is take in all you've done is for years, you paid an additional tax. That goes to what? What does the bill say? It goes to a general fund. So where does that go?
Who knows?
And that money goes back to the state, goes back to the Commonwealth. So it's just money, more money back in the Commonwealth's pocket. But that's not how the left is going to promote it.
No, they're going to promote it as everyone, was it 12 weeks of family leave that you get?
That's why I recommend to everybody that you come with me and Will, with the Virginia Assembly of Independent Baptists, come with Kingdom Politics down to the Capitol, because in the sessions where you hear the truth about what these bills really mean, not what you're told out in public.
Yeah, and you can watch it. You can watch them because I'm busy. I can't come down here as much. You can stream the sessions online. Just Google Virginia delegates and you can find it. It's super easy. But yeah, the tax is the biggest one. What did he say? The biggest one in the history of Virginia?
Yeah.
Is what this is going to end up being. And again, it's not that people shouldn't have 12 weeks of leave if you have I'm assuming it's for a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a child, okay, so again, funny enough, with the logic of the left, we want 12 weeks for mothers to have leave, but also they have no value.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
they're mothers in this bill, but everyone will their birthing person.
Yeah. And so now we're going to get taxed for this. It's a compulsory, you have to pay into it, but then who's paying what? And this is where you start to get it. Where's the money going? It's just a general fund.
That's it. Going right back to the Commonwealth pocket.
What's the next step then is who qualifies for this? Yeah. You have to pay for it, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it.
Right.
There's going to be qualifications for it. I guarantee it comes out next time they're back in session, not for the reconvening of what they're doing now, but when they're back for more bills, it did get passed. So now they're going to have to lay out who gets this, and how you qualify for it. But the state has no business in the vacation business.
Right.
We've
talked about this before. What does the Bible say the two purposes of government? To protect those who do good and punish those who do evil.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Not your vacation, not your health insurance, not even carrying your mail.
No.
Okay. I don't trust the post office to get a letter from here to my home in Louisa. Much less I'm going to trust them with my health care.
Yeah.
So that's the total limit of the government. Help protect those who do evil. Biblically, that protect those who do evil, punish those who do, or protect those who do good, punish those who do evil. Not all this other stuff. Not all this other, the creating of all these taxes.
No, and people wonder why it's so expensive to live here. Now, this is why, because they're literally creating things that don't exist,
Yeah.
that aren't needed, that weren't ever needed, and aren't needed now. My wife took off, I think she took 12 weeks.
Mhm.
She saved up her vacation time. We had whatever it's called, some sort of disability.
Short term.
Yes, thank you. We had short-term disability that we paid for, and she saved up her vacation time, and then she took some unpaid days too, because she didn't want to go back to work. She wanted to be with our son as long as she could, and so that's what we did. And it was a huge sacrifice for our family to do all of that, but it worked. We made it work.
Sure.
The government doesn't need to help you with this.
And if this uh, vacation or sick thing was a permissible tax that you could opt out, that'd be one thing.
Yeah, we'd have to be a totally different discussion. So this is not an opt-out situation.
It's not a situation.
No, now if the state government came and said like, hey, you can opt into this, we'll manage it for you. I still wouldn't agree with it because I don't think the government should be doing that.
No.
But I can see the merits.
We should make it somebody do something.
Yeah, it's not compulsory, but everything's got to be compulsory. Everything is.
And it goes back into the general fund because, the affordability plan is we don't have to spend your money better than you do.
Well, the affordability plan is to bank as much as they can because they're going to get sued.
Yeah.
They all the Second Amendment stuff that they passed today is all going to go to court.
Yep, every bit of it. I've already talked to judges in lawyers who've already filed quick cases.
Yeah.
Or they're writing cases, they haven't filed yet. They're writing cases that they're getting ready for it. And so
yeah, they gotta wait till it's in effect, but they're gonna go to court and they're gonna have to pay the state of Virginia. And again, where does that money come from? The government makes no money. It comes from us.
Yeah.
It's your money.
Yeah.
So even if you agree with gun control, you shouldn't agree with these because they're unconstitutional.
Yeah.
And you're gonna pay for it. But nobody thinks of it like that.
Yeah.
Well, not many people think of it like that.
Not enough. That's why only 60% of voters went out last night.
Yeah. So real quick on the redistricting, because people probably already know that got passed. The next step is the Virginia Supreme Court. Briefs are due tomorrow to the court, and then I don't know, we'll take it from there. I will, in my opinion, I think the court has to do something. I don't know whether they'll agree or disagree, but they're going to have to do something. They're not going to be able to kick it down the road because the vote is too close.
It's not like it passed by 12%.
Yeah.
It passed by 88,000 votes. It passed out of Fairfax County.
Yeah.
And so it's not the will of most of the people.
No.
Quite frankly, not the will of most of the people. And when you and I don't put our hope in courts. We trust in the name of the Lord our God, according to Psalm 20.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't trust in chairs. We don't trust in horses. We don't trust in courts. We don't trust in lawyers. And I was always skeptical when the court said, "Well, we'll hear this after the election." Well, because I went to many places as I traveled in churches and rallies, saying, "Listen, I don't put any hope in that because they're going to say we don't want to override the will of the people." Well, the will of the people is really in question because
it is questioning. It's somewhat incredible that, and I'm not espousing a conspiracy theory or anything like that, but
very good. We went off air, didn't we?
Oh yeah, now you're back.
Hey, welcome back. It's
sorry. My wife called. I thought it was on Do Not Disturb.
It's real odd that we found 35,000 absentee ballots, right on the nose. 35,000 absentee ballots in Fairfax. I wish we had better laws on absentee ballots. I don't have a problem with absentee ballots, but I do have a problem with absentee ballots. People just sitting on their front porch and too trifling to get in their car and drive 10 minutes up the road to their polling place. Absentee ballots are supposed to be for those people in the military, those people that are in hospitals, or those people that are serving overseas, like my in-laws or missionaries. They vote by absentee, and they should be able to. But somebody just sitting on their porch, too trifling to go down the street, no, you don't get an absentee. You can't go online and apply for an absentee ballot. You don't qualify. You live and reside 10 miles from your polling place. If you're going to vote, you need to go there and present your ID before we come and let you vote. But but we'll see what happens in the courts. I mean, like I said, like you said, briefs are due tomorrow. We'll see what they say, and we'll just trust the Lord with the results.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it's still a far cry from. Let's be real. It's the battle is not over.
no,
We'll see what the three courts say: the Tazewell, City of Lynchburg, and the Virginia Supreme Court. But still, that's a far cry from accomplishing what the left was hoping to accomplish by this. They may very well redistrict, and they very well may take 4 seats in Virginia, but that's a far cry from taking the majority back in Washington. Because if we redistrict here, you also got to remember that Texas did too, North Carolina did too,
yeah,
and so you may do all this, and you still may not take back the majority, which is supposedly their goal. So we'll see what happens. But also, I want our viewers to keep in mind that New York was the first state to redistrict, not Donald Trump, not Virginia, not Texas, not North Carolina, but it was New York, because New York was starting to get a little bit too pink for the governor, so she forced the redistricting, make it a more blue.
yeah. I posted it wasn't my graph, and I'm sorry. We've been in session for like 4 hours, so my brain's a little slow. There's a bit, you can Google it. There's a graph out there on all the states that have redistricted, and the most that have redistricted are it's Democratic states.
Mhm.
It's just the truth. But again, you can look it up for yourself. It's not. It's just an objective thing. They're the ones that are pushing to do this stuff. But yeah, I mean, the hope's in God, and who knows what God works out of all this? I really don't know.
Wouldn't it be phenomenal? Will, I told you while we were walking in the chamber, wouldn't it be
Yeah.
phenomenal if God showed his providence, showed his power, and they did this lobster claw thing, this redistricting thing they want to do, and because the rural Virginia was so sick of the left, they rose up and actually turned Fairfax red.
Yeah,
Our God is able.
yeah. That would be my favorite thing, actually.
I would have to admit, I'd have to laugh at that.
I would. It would be really funny. God has a sense of humor.
Yes, he does.
Yes,
he does.
Yeah, God has a sense of humor. We'll close with this. So when I was a kid, I worked really hard to leave Virginia, and I never planned to be back. But here I am at the Virginia Assembly with you, doing this for the last couple of months. So yeah, God gets the last laugh.
Yes, he does.
I laugh about that quite a bit. I used to tell people when I was in the military and I was traveling and stuff, I would tell people, no, I'm never going back there. But here I am. So shorter show today. And we'll be back to a regular thing next week. And but any closing thoughts?
No, just keep praying for Brother Will. Keep praying for me. Keep praying for VAIB, and keep praying for Kingdom Politics. Thank you for this blessed opportunity to do this with you every week. It's an honor. Will has become a patriot and a good friend of mine, and I covet his friendship very much. And so I'm very honored to stand by you, and so I'm very, very pleased to do so. Thank you for all your hard work and what you do to make sure people know what's going on. Be sure to pray for VAIB.
Yeah.
And email me if you want to get on our Capital Alert. If you don't mind me plugging.
No, plug. We'll do some plug.
If you want to get on our Capital Alert, that's basically a free email service to let you know what's going on in Richmond. We write articles on different bills that are coming through. We write articles on different how politics relates to the Bible, things like that. Just email me your name and email address to director@vaib.org. And then I'll get my staff to put you on the list. Or if you want to call and talk to me directly, call 804-960-4014. And I'll be glad to talk to you. But it's been an honor to be with you today, Will. We're not done yet, but it's been an honor to be with you. And I'm very honored to stand here in the old house chamber. In fact, this old chamber,
this is
where
cool.
they met until the 1950s. And so actually, back in the day, the courts were upstairs. You may not know this. Our viewers probably don't know this. The court was upstairs. And while they were meeting down here, there was an important court case going on the top floor. And it was so many people up there that the weight of all the people crashed down into this room.
Whoa.
And many people died, including Patrick Henry's grandson was in this room, and he passed away as a result of that crash. The plaque on the wall there tells all about it. and they actually wanted to tear this building down and not remake it, but the people rose up and rebelled against that, and they redid it, and they met here consistently until about 1956. But Virginia's had 3 constitution revisions. The last one was in 1971. Every one of them have met in this room, including one from 1971.
Wow.
And so they still use, now it's just kind of a tourist place, but if they have another constitution revisit, this is where historically where it's taking place.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah, you guys should come down and check it out sometime. See what goes on for yourselves. And what do I have? We have a few things. We got Citizens Defending Freedom lunch next Thursday for anybody that wants to come. All these are
good lunches too.
Yeah, it's legit food. So come get some free food and hear what they have to say.
A pack of naps. You're gonna get real food.
We got Christ and Culture Night with Kristen Hawkins coming up on May 6th. And that's at 7 p.m. Both of those, please sign up. You can check my Facebook page, William Budd. It's on there, or Instagram, same thing. And then we have apologetics class.
Yes.
May 9th.
May 9th.
People that want to learn apologetics, learn how to defend your faith. We got a whole great group of people coming to teach, and it's going to be a great time. So thanks for everybody for the support on the show, and for you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're the man. And appreciate everybody understanding the short show, but I had a chance to come to Richmond due to some stuff going on at the church. So we did it from here. So we'll be back with a regular one next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.